Good morning guys, so today I'm doing a first impression of the LA Girl Pro Coverage Foundation. I haven't opened these yet and I have the shade Fair as well as the white shade in case this is too dark for me. So this foundation comes with a pump which is amazing and I will just see how the shade is. So that is the consistency and shade right there. And I will check the shade right now. So I feel like the shade is just a tad bit too dark, so I will mix in a tiny bit of the white shade. So here I have about 2/3 of a pump of the white foundation as well as 2 pumps of the darker foundation, and I will just go ahead and apply this. So this is the foundation applied to my face and I will zoom you in to show you what it looks like. So this is what the foundation is looking like on my skin currently. I think it looks really nice and it did cover pretty well. And just as it says, it is a dewy foundation. But I feel like it's not too dewy and it doesn't feel heavy on my skin, which I really enjoy. So yeah, I think it looks pretty nice and I will zoom you out again. So it is currently 7:30 and I will go ahead and do the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. So I'm just done applying my makeup and the time is currently 8 o'clock or just about. And I think the foundation looks pretty good. I feel like my bronzer and blush and all of that went on pretty well on top of it. And the only thing is that it looks pretty dry on my nose and I will zoom in again to show you that. So this is what it looks like currently, and I don't know if you can tell, but my nose looks a little bit dry. But I do have dry skin, so that's not very unusual. But otherwise I think it looks pretty good and the coverage is really nice. I do really like it. I don't think it's full coverage, I think it's medium, but I did only put on 1 layer, so I don't know if it's buildable, but currently I think this has medium coverage and it is dewy. It's still not completely set on my face and I had to set my under eyes as well as my cheeks just to put on bronzer and stuff. But yeah, this is what it's looking like currently. So I will go about my day and I will update you in a couple of hours. Hi guys, I'm here for my first update of the foundation and the time is currently 12:56. So this has been on for 4.5 hours from when I first put it on and 4 hours since I finished my makeup. And this is what it's looking like currently. It is a tiny bit oily, not too bad though, but you can definitely see it like around here. The main issue for me is that it's looking quite dry and I will zoom you in to show you more in detail what I mean. But otherwise I think it looks pretty okay. It's not my favorite foundation thus far, but it's holding up pretty well and I do like it. But like I said, it's not my favorite foundation for how it's looking like right now. So this is the foundation right now, and I don't know if you can tell, but especially around my nose you can see the dryness, and as well like on top of my nose the foundation is sitting a tiny bit weird. But yeah, the main issue is like my nose area, I think. I mean, it looks okay, but it's just sitting a little bit on top of my skin and that's my main issue so far, but I will zoom you out again. So I'm just about to run out to do some errands and I just thought that I would check in with the foundation before I do that. But I will be back at the end of the day to show you my final thoughts. Hey guys, so I'm here for my final update and the time is currently 10:06, if you can see that. So this has been on for, let me count, 10 hours, just over 10 hours. And this is what the foundation is looking like right now. So It is still a little bit oily, but I don't feel it has gotten too oily if you compare it to last update. I think it kind of stayed kind of the same, which is good. And yeah, I actually think it looks better now than it did for the last update. I feel like it kind of melted more into my skin now. It's still definitely sitting a little bit on top of my skin, and it is enhancing my dry patches. But yeah, I will zoom you in to show you what it looks like close up. So this is what it's looking like close up, and you can see that it kind of worn off around my nose and a little bit on my chin. I feel like my cheeks look really good, but yeah, it's worn off definitely around my nose and my chin, like I said, and then it's oily around here. You can definitely see when I touch it. It's definitely picking up the oil, but it's not transferring onto my fingers that much, which is good. But yeah, it kind of sits on top of my skin, and you can definitely see that on my nose, and that is kind of similar to the last update. So what are my final thoughts on this foundation? If you just think about the price, this is a pretty cheap foundation, and just that they have a white mixer shade is amazing, and I will definitely use this shade a lot for my darker foundations, because I did use it a little bit in today, and the formula is good for being a mixer, because the white mixers that I had before are just kind of not like normal foundations. They're kind of just, I don't know, weird and thick and not very nice. So this one will definitely be a staple in my collection when trying to use darker foundations. But about the foundation as a whole, I do like it. I think it's nice. I think it held up pretty well. The only issue that I have is the issue with it sitting on top of my skin. I don't mind the oiliness, because most foundations make me a tiny bit oily throughout the day, and like kind of keeping in mind that it didn't get super oily at the end of the day. I think that if you just powdered once throughout the day, it would be completely fine. But the issue for me is that it just kind of clings to my dry patches and kind of enhances the dry patches, especially on my nose. And I have foundations that sit super well on my face, and of course my skin may not be like completely smooth at the moment. It may sit better after I just exfoliated, but in general, I used a different foundation yesterday and it looked completely fine, so I think that this is enhancing it a bit. So I would say that if you have dry skin, this wouldn't be perfect for you. If you have super oily skin, I don't think this would be good either, because it's not mattifying. But if you have normal to combination skin, I think this would be really nice, and the coverage is super good for being a glowy foundation. Like I said earlier, when I put this on, I only put on one layer, and that was a good medium coverage, and I didn't try to build it up because I was happy with the coverage, but I will try that out and I will see how much you can build this. So I will update you on that if I mention this in an upcoming video. But yeah, in general, I think this is a really good foundation, and I think it's worth the price. I just feel like this foundation for me would be something that I would enjoy more in the summer when my skin isn't as dry. But to give this some credit, most foundations do sit on top of my skin and enhances my dryness, because in the winter time, especially like my nose gets super dry. So that was my thoughts on this foundation. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please give it a thumbs up if you're enjoying my first impressions. And I will talk to you in my next video. Bye guys!